Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. We're diving straight into something absolutely fascinating today. When we usually think about giving, or philanthropy, or charity, it is so easy to just fixate on the external stuff, right? We look at the size of the check, how massive the foundation is, or the sheer number of people getting helped. And hey, all of that is totally valid and important. But today, we're going to flip the script a bit. We're setting a slightly more contemplative tone to explore the true, raw nature of generosity by turning the lens inward. We are going to look at a piece of ancient wisdom that literally measures generosity not by the zeros leaving your bank account, but by what's actually going on inside your own mind and heart right at the exact second you decide to give.
So let's get right into it. How exactly do we measure the absolute best kind of giving? I seriously want you to just pause and reflect on that for a quick second. What actually makes an act of charity truly great? Is it just the cash amount? Like if a billionaire drops $1 million, is that automatically a quote-unquote better charity than someone with $10 giving away 5? Deep down, we intrinsically know there's a huge difference there, don't we? We kind of sense that the real weight of a charitable act has to be measured by something way beyond just commas and zeros. We know personal sacrifice plays a huge role, but how on earth do we actually define that sacrifice?
Section 1. The Prophet's Answer.
Well, this brings us to an incredible excerpt from Sahih al-Bukhari. For those who might need a quick refresher, this is a highly prominent collection of hadith, which are the verified sayings and teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. The text reads, "The Prophet was asked which charity is best. He taught that giving while you are healthy and hoping to keep your wealth is among the best forms of charity." Wow, I really want us to sit with that for a moment. When asked for the ultimate metric of charity, the response wasn't about the amount, it wasn't even about the recipient. It was 100% about the internal state of the person actually doing the giving. It just reveals this incredible, almost startling psychological depth about human nature.
Moving on to Section 2. The first condition. Health.
The absolutely crucial point here is this very specific condition: giving while you are healthy. Now, why in the world is health a condition for the best charity? Let's unpack the psychology going on here. Look, when you're healthy, you basically feel invincible. You feel like you've got this massive, expansive timeline ahead of you. And when you project yourself into that long, happy future, what instantly happens? Well, you naturally want to prepare for it. You want to hold on to your resources because in your mind, you're definitely going to need them for all those vibrant years ahead. Health creates this wild illusion of infinite time, which, ironically enough, makes us want to hoard our completely finite resources. So actually giving away what you have when you genuinely feel like you have a whole lifetime left to live, that is incredibly, incredibly difficult.
Which brings us to Section 3, the second condition, wealth. And hoping to keep your wealth. Notice that it doesn't say you should give when you feel completely detached from material things like some enlightened monk. No, it specifically highlights giving when you actively want to keep your money. I love this because it's recognizing a fundamental, deeply ingrained human instinct for self-preservation. We all have this innate drive to accumulate stuff, to secure our resources, and to build up a nice, cozy safety net. Hoping to keep your wealth isn't painted as some sort of malicious greed here at all. It's literally just human nature. You worked hard for it, so naturally you want to keep it. Actually, overcoming that super powerful desire is exactly what makes the act of parting with your cash so incredibly profound.
All right, Section 4. The friction of giving.
Let's really illustrate this collision of ideas. On one side of the equation, we have the state described in the text, giving when you're healthy and actively hoping to keep your wealth. Guys, there is massive, intense internal friction here. Literally every instinct in your body is screaming at you to keep your resources for your own future. Now, on the flip side, contrast that with giving when you're facing failing health and your wealth is no longer really needed. If someone is, say, at the very end of their life, the actual utility of their wealth essentially drops to zero. Giving it away then, and don't get me wrong, it's still a very noble thing to do, but it just doesn't require that same agonizing internal battle. The friction is gone simply because the illusion of needing it for a long future is gone. The text is pointing out the immense difficulty and therefore the absolute sky-high value of giving when you desperately feel you still need those resources.
So I gotta pose this question to you. Why is it the hardest to give when we actually feel the most secure? It's kind of a wild paradox, isn't it? You'd logically think that feeling secure would make it a total breeze to be generous, but this text completely shatters that assumption. It perfectly highlights the absolute irony of human nature. When we feel healthy and our wealth is steadily growing, our sense of security basically transforms into a psychological fortress. We just keep building the walls higher and higher. To voluntarily give away a piece of that fortress, right while we are actively enjoying its protection, that requires a supreme, almost superhuman act of willpower.
Section 5. The True Test.
The best charity literally fights our strongest, most primal natural instincts of preservation. You see, this Sahih al-Bukhari text isn't just some dusty rulebook, it's a mirror. It is reflecting our own messy psychology right back at us. It teaches us that true, authentic generosity is measured by the internal friction we manage to overcome. It's measured by the actual personal sacrifice required to bypass our own innate sense of security, our own selfish desire to hoard everything for a healthy future. Think about it. If giving doesn't pinch at least a little bit, if it doesn't fight against that nagging voice in the back of your head going, wait, but I might actually need this later, then it probably hasn't quite reached the level of the quote-unquote best charity described here.
Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought to take away from today's explainer. When was the last time your giving truly challenged your sense of security? I seriously want you to linger on that for a bit. Think about your own habits, your own modern everyday life, and try applying this ancient metric to it. Are we just giving from the overflow, when it's super comfortable and easy, or are we giving when we're healthy, looking at a long future, and absolutely hoping to keep our wealth? It's a tough, challenging standard for sure, but as this text so beautifully lays out, that is exactly where the greatest value lies. All right, that wraps up this explainer. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.